The United States has sent a signal that its position on Taiwan and its sovereignty may be shifting with an update to the text of the Taiwan section on the State Department website, deleting the line, "We do not support Taiwan independence." The change comes less than a month into President Donald Trump's new term. Louise is following this story for us, and it joins us from our newsroom in Taipei. Louise, how significant are these changes?
Well, that's the big question. The US says these are simply part of routine updates. Taiwan, for its part, has expressed gratitude for what it calls positive Taiwan-friendly wordings, and China has slammed the changes, calling on the US to, in its words, immediately correct its mistakes. Let's take a look first at the changes. The US State Department website used to say, "We oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We do not support Taiwan independence, and we expect cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means." Well, now that phrase, "We do not support Taiwan independence," has gone, and they now expect that differences between Taiwan and China will be resolved by peaceful means, but also free from coercion and in a manner acceptable to the people on both sides of the strait. Now, China claims sovereignty over Taiwan. Taiwan says it's its own sovereign country. The US has a long-standing policy not to take sides, not to take a view on who has sovereignty over Taiwan. If we think back to President Biden's administration, President Biden showed support for Taiwan. He even said several times that the US would come to Taiwan's aid in the event of a Chinese attack. Well, during his administration, that line was still in there, although it was briefly removed in 2022 and then put back in after protests from China. Well, I've been talking today to a political analyst who's based in Taipei, Ross Feingold. He also is a former Asia chair of the political organization Republicans Abroad. Now, he says this change has to have come from the top of the US State Department, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, who's known to be a China hawk. And Ross Feingold says that he doubts that Rubio would bow to any pressure from Beijing to put that line back in there. Now, we're going to hear a little more from Ross now. I started by asking him, taking out the line, "We do not support Taiwan independence," does this mean the US does now support Taiwan independence?
They've removed this one line that we do not support. Does it mean they oppose? Does it mean they don't oppose? It's anyone's guess. I think the key thing here is the reference to the status quo, and the government under President Trump, U.S. government, opposes any unilateral changes to the status quo.
How should we take these changes? What should we read into them as far as the Trump administration's support for Taiwan?
I think there might be some tension, we could call it, between the president and his national security, defense, foreign policy team. On the one hand, President Trump is reluctant to get involved in overseas wars. He's made that very clear. And in the U.S.-China relationship, the one issue that is most important, that President Trump cares the most about, is the trade issue. And some of these other issues, whether it's Taiwan or Hong Kong or Xinjiang or Tibet, I think President Trump is going to defer to his team. And the interesting thing is his team wants to show political support for these other issues. So again, whether it's Secretary Rubio or Defense Secretary Hegseth or National Security Advisor Waltz, I think they're going to be very eager to take on the full agenda of U.S.-China issues, and that includes showing political support for Taiwan or for dissidents from the other regions of China. I think President Trump is just going to defer to his team, which actually gives the team a wide open space to make such gestures towards Taiwan or to take action on some of the other issues in the U.S.-China relationship.